Hey, welcome to Capture, Convert, Close. I'm your host, Althea Hurst, broker, real estate educator, and someone who genuinely loves breaking this business down in a way that actually makes sense. This podcast is for real estate agents and entrepreneurs who want real strategy. We're talking lead generation, systems, mindset, money, and how to build a business that works directly for you, not the other way around. If you're ready to get clear, get confident, and close with intention, you're in the right place. Hey guys, let me tell y'all something. I left my full-time job with no savings and $0 in the bank, and I don't recommend you do what I did. It worked for me. Yes, I definitely have to say that. It definitely did work for me, but those first few months were so rough. Honestly, those first few years were rough. So today I'm going to teach you how to know when you're actually ready to go full-time in real estate and how to do it smarter than I did, right? Like, let's just talk about that. Welcome back to my podcast, Capture, Convert, Close. It's Althea Hurst. I am your managing broker over here at Arla Real Estate, and I've sold over $100 million in my career. And on this show, we just talk about the real side of running a real estate business, not the Instagram highlight reel. We're getting the real, messy, complicated truth. And today we're talking about when it's time to go full time and how to know when you're actually ready. All right, so let me start with my story because I think context matters here. I left my full-time job with no savings. Just a quick back end. I am a former federal police officer, so I have done 6 years with the Secret Service and 3 years with the FBI. And I left. I left in the middle of a presidential campaign, and I said I could no longer do this. So I was deployed and I was out, and I was like, this is it. This is it for me. So I left. I had only closed one deal at the time. Only one deal, of course, which makes sense because I'm literally boots on the ground. So I had only closed one deal at the time, and I left my full-time job with no savings, not even $1,000. Heck, not even $500, not even $20, zero. And what's so funny is that I was telling everybody that I had savings because a lot of people were so nervous for me, and I could not allow myself to accept their limiting beliefs. I couldn't do that. So I would give them the answers they wanted to know just so that way I could cut the conversation short. And before you think, oh, wow, that's so bold or that's so it's inspiring. No, honestly, it was reckless, but I was really blessed because it was intentional and also it was instruction. Okay. And I don't say that to be humble. I say that because it's truth. It was instruction for me to do that. It was intentional for me to do that. I made that decision out of, again, instruction. I was tired of my job. I was tired of not having control over my time. I was tired of feeling like I was building someone else's dream instead of my own. And I went to God. And I started talking to God about it. I started writing it out. So another thing too that I think is important to note is that it took me a year to leave. So when I went into God, he didn't just answer me and I just took that jump right then and there. No, it took 12 months for God to give me a day. And within that 12 months, if I look back, I can see how much I was maturing and training myself because I was literally heads in books. Like I was reading every book that you can think about. I was writing all the things as far as like all my goals and manifestations. When I had time, I was attending trainings. I was attending conferences. I was doing a lot. So it was the preparation, the mental preparation that God had for me first before he gave me permission to leave. So then that day came, he told me what day it was. And I said, you know what? I'm done. And I quit. And I turned in my notice. No plan, no savings, just faith, a little bit of frustration because it was a nasty out, but faith and frustration. And for the first few months, first year or so, you guys, I was stressed out of my mind. I was stressed. I was scared, but I was so faithful and so determined. And I just had so much faith. So I was waking up, honestly, you guys, like in the middle of the night, wondering where would my next check come from? And I was making decisions out of desperation instead of strategy in the beginning because I have children, I'm like, I got to make sure things are good. So I was chasing deals I should not have chased. working with clients I should not have worked with. I was saying yes to clients that I should have said no to. I was dropping my standards just to get something closed so I could pay my bills. And eventually I figured it out. Okay. Eventually I got it together. I built systems. I got consistent and I started closing deals. And then from there, the business grew. But I don't want that for you all. I don't want that for you because you don't have to struggle the way that I did. You can be smarter. You can be more prepared. You can build the foundation first and then make the leap from a position of strength instead of desperation. So that's what we're going to talk about today. That's what we're going to talk about. Let's start with this. Let's start with going full time. Let's start with what going full time is not about. Okay. It's not about getting one big commission check and then thinking to yourself like, okay, I can do this. I'm full time now. Nope. Because one commission check does not mean you have a sustainable business. It just means you got really blessed deal, right? Once you're, or I would say too, you work really hard on that one deal, right? You really work really hard on that deal. But can you repeat that business? Do you have a system that's producing deals consistently? Or was that like a one-off kind of thing? Like these are the questions that you would have to ask yourself, because going full time is not being tired of your job and wanting to escape. That's not what it's about, okay? Because if you're running from something instead of running to something, you're going to struggle. You're going to bring that same energy of frustration and exhaustion into your business, and it's going to show up in your work. It's not about feeling inspired after watching some motivational video or seeing someone else quit their job on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, because that inspiration actually fades away. And when it does, and it will, you need something stronger to keep you going. You cannot just hold on to that. Inspiration might get you to quit, but it's discipline and structure that's going to keep you in the game. And it's not about me or anyone else telling you that you're ready. Stop looking for that type of permission, because I don't know your situation. I don't know your finances. I don't know your family dynamics. I don't know your support system. I don't know your mental state, and nobody else does either. This is something that is sacred to you. Only you know if you're ready, and God knows if you're ready. So which brings me to the first and most important point, right? Which is going full time is spiritual. It is spiritual. You need instruction from God first. And I know some of y'all might not be religious or spiritual, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. But I'm telling you from my own experience, this decision is too big to make without any type of divine guidance. You need structure, you need foundation, you need solitude, because going full time is going to affect every single area of your life. I'm talking your finances, your family, your relationships, your mental health, your physical health, your identity, your sense of self-worth. Like literally everything is on the table when you go full time. So before you make this move, you need to be in alignment spiritually. You need clarity. You need peace. You need confirmation. And if you don't have that, you're just guessing or hoping or trying to force it, and don't do it yet. Don't do it yet. Wait. Pray about it. Meditate on it. Seek counsel from people you trust. God talks about that in the Bible, and get clear. Because if you move without spiritual alignment, you're going to struggle in ways that you did not expect. You're going to second guess yourself consistently. You're going to feel alone. You're going to wonder if you've made a mistake. But when you have that divine confirmation, when you know your spirit that is the right move, when you know in your spirit that is the right move, that peace will carry you through hard days. But beyond the spiritual piece, you guys, beyond the spiritual side, is going full time is about three things. It's about your stability. It's about your systems, and it's about your repeatability. It's not about hoping it works out. It's about knowing it's going to work out because you've built the foundation. And here's the thing. Going full time looks different for every single person. Like it truly depends on your personality, right? It depends on your personality. It depends on your mental toughness. It depends on your risk threshold. It depends on your financial situation, your support system, your responsibilities. Some people can handle a lot of risk, i.e. I can handle a lot of risk, right? They can quit their jobs with minimal savings and figure it out. I was one of those people. That was me, right? But other people, depending upon your personality, you may need protection. You may need a safety net. You may need 6 months of expenses saved in order for you to feel comfortable, right? You may need structure and security before you can even think about taking that leap. And both of those approaches, honestly, are okay. Like, there's literally no wrong way to do this. There's only the way that works the best for you. That's it. The key is knowing yourself, really truly knowing yourself and building a plan that aligns with who you are, not who you think you should be, not who Instagram tells you to be, who you actually are at your core. So let me break down what you actually need before you go for a time. Number one, you need emergency cushion if you are that individual that needs protection. I didn't have this, and it was a massive mistake for myself. However, I would recommend it. Full-time does not mean broke but hopeful. It means that you're prepared. You need savings, real money set aside that you can assess if things get tight. How much at minimum? They say 3 to 6 months. And I say they say because I can't say I'll say because I didn't do that, right? But I can say they say around about 3 to 6 months of living expenses. And if you have a family, if you have kids, if you have a mortgage, if you have car payments, student loans, whatever, you might need some more. So just make sure you're budgeting for that, of course, because here's the reality. When you go full-time, your income is going to be inconsistent. There's no way around that. Some months you'll close 3 deals and make $15,000, $30,000. Some months you'll close 0 deals and make absolutely nothing. And if you don't have cushion to fall back on, you're going to panic. You're going to panic. And when you panic, you essentially end up making bad decisions. You start chasing deals that aren't good for you just because you need the money. You start dropping your commission just to get something closed. You start saying yes to clients you should have said no to. You start second guessing your abilities and wondering if you made a mistake. So to avoid some of that, build the cushion first. Even if it takes you 6 months to a year, build it. Okay. That cushion gives you that peace of mind, and it gives you the space to operate from a position of strength instead of desperation. All right. So here's what I learned. Okay. Courage got me to quit my job. Right. But the structure is what kept me from failing, which kept me from falling. If I had to do it all over again, I definitely would have saved some money first. I would have built myself more stable as it related to my finances before I made the leap. So don't do what I did. Do it better. Be smarter. Okay. That's my take. Number 2, you need to control your time now. This is so important and also so overlooked. A lot of agents think that if I just quit my job, I'll have time and, I can focus more on real estate. And technically, yeah, that is true. You will have more time. But if you don't know how to manage your time now, you won't know how to manage it when you're full time. Can we be honest? I might be laughing when I say that, but it's true. If you really don't know how to manage your time now, you are not going to know how to manage your time when you're full time. You'll just be out there being your own worst employee. And here's the thing. Having more time doesn't automatically mean you'll be more productive. In fact, what I see is a lot of agents who go full-time end up less productive than they were when they had a job. Why? Because when you have a job, you have structure, you have accountability, you have limited time. So you're forced to prioritize. You have to do that. But when you go full-time, you have all the time in the world. And if you're not careful, you're wasted. You will waste all of that time if you are not careful. You'll sleep in, you'll scroll on social media. A lot of kids say bed rotten. You'll do busy work that makes you feel productive but doesn't actually move the needle in your business. So before you quit, prove to yourself that you can truly manage your time. Can you block out time for lead generation and actually stick to it even when you don't feel like it? Can you follow up with your database consistently, even when it's uncomfortable or awkward? Can you show up on social media and create content without someone telling you to do it? Can you prioritize the income producing activities over easy stuff or the busy work? If you can't do that with a job, if you can't do that now with a job, you're not going to be able to magically do it when you're full time. So learn to be your best employee before you quit. Not yours. Master your time management while you still have the structure of a job. Then when you go full time, you will be unstoppable. All right. Number 3, you need at least 3 reliable lead sources. I say 3, right? And when I say reliable, I don't mean I post on social media every day or now and then, or I went to one open house. No, that's not reliable. I mean 3 lead sources that you are actively, truly committed to, that you've been working on consistently, and that are producing results for you, right? So it's 2 parts to this that you're actively and committedly working on consistently. That's part 1. And part 2 is that it's producing results for you. Social media, open houses, community events, door knocking, cold calling, spirit influence. What else do we got? Geographic farming, expired listings, for sale by owners. Whatever it is that you're focusing on, pick 3. Pick 3 of them, master them, and make sure they're working before you go full time. Because when you quit your job, you're going to wake up some days, maybe even most days at first, anxious about where your next deal is coming from. And if you don't have a reliable source that leads you, or a reliable source or leads that you can actually trust, then your anxiety is going to cripple you. You're going to have anxiety. And I'll tell you guys this, I honestly feel like I did not battle with anxiety not until I became a full-time entrepreneur. I honestly did not battle with anxiety not until I became a full-time entrepreneur. I don't know what's going on with my words today, but I am not re-recording this. Y'all gonna get this the way that it is, okay? But when I tell you that anxiety will cripple you, that anxiety will cripple you. And it has definitely crippled me before. So you're going to start second guessing yourself and everything you're doing. I feel like that's just the nature of the beast. You're going to start jumping from strategy to strategy, never giving anything enough time to actually work. Can we talk about that? Like, I don't know what it is, but all of a sudden when you become an entrepreneur, you get all these grand ideas and you literally start jumping strategy to strategy, idea to idea, and you give nothing enough time to actually work. And what essentially ends up happening is that you're going to lose focus and you're going to lose confidence. So what I would recommend is build those lead sources now while you still have the security of a paycheck. Build them, test them, refine them, figure out what works for you, figure out what doesn't work for you, and whatever it is, make sure that it's producing results. And also, here's another thing. Multiple lead sources protect you, because if one dries up, and they will sometimes because real estate is ever flowing, you'll have 2 others to fall back on. So if the market shifts and one strategy stops working, you're not scrambling because you have diversification inside of your business. Diversification in your lead generation is just important as diversification in your investments. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Build multiple streams. That's what I have. Number 4, you need to understand lead flow without panic. You need to understand lead flow without panic. This goes hand in hand with number 3, but it's more about the emotional side of things, like that mental emotional side of things, because being full-time means there are going to be slow days, slow weeks, maybe even slow months, and you need to be emotionally ready for that. So can you handle waking up and not knowing where your next paycheck is coming from? Can you handle that? Can you handle the inconsistency without spiraling into fear and doubt? What Usher say? Can you handle that? Can you handle delayed gratification? I mean, literally putting in work today and not seeing results for 30, 60, 90, 180 days. Can you handle that? Can you stay disciplined and keep showing up even when leads aren't coming in fast enough or as fast as you want? Can you handle that? Can you handle being there for clients and feeling like you're about to get this deal, and then the clients tell you they want to take their house off the market, or they want to stop showing, they want to stop shopping, and they're going to wait a year? Can you handle that? If you cannot, you're not ready. And that's okay. That is totally okay. Use this time, work on building that mental toughness first. Work on building that trust in the process first. Because the agents who fail when they go full time aren't the ones who lack the skill or the knowledge. They're the ones who can't handle the emotional roller coaster of inconsistent income. Can you handle it? They're the ones who panic when things slow down and make rash decisions out of fear. Can you be decisive? So if you know that you struggle with anxiety or fear around money, work on that before you quit. Maybe that means you got to go to therapy. Maybe that means you need to work with a coach. I did that. Maybe that means reading books or listening to podcasts about mindset. I started off talking to you guys about that, how God prepped me for a year. And it was literally nothing but mental preparation. Whatever it takes, do that work first, because your mental and emotional readiness is just as important as your financial readiness. All right, number 5. You need emotional readiness for everything entrepreneurship requires. And this one is a big one that people don't talk about enough, okay? Because going full time as an entrepreneur, as not just as a real estate, not just as a real estate agent, but as an entrepreneur, means a lot of things people don't prepare for or aren't prepared for. You're going to have inconsistent income. Months when you're making 20,000, some months when you make 2,000, some months when you make 0. Can you handle that without spiraling into fear or panic? You're going to experience delayed gratification. The work you put in today, the prospect and the content, the follow-up may not pay off for 3 or 4 months. Can you stay motivated and consistent throughout the day? You're going to need self-accountability. Nobody's going to tell you what to do and when to do it. Nobody's going to check on you or hold you accountable. That's all on you. Can you hold yourself to a standard without any external pressure? You're going to have to make decisions alone, big decisions, financial decisions, business decisions, hiring decisions, and you can't afford to be indecisive or second guess yourself into paralysis. You cannot. So can you make tough calls and stand by them? Can you have tough conversations and stand by them? You're going to have to invest money into yourself. That looks like marketing, education, systems, CRMs, photography, coaching, technology. And sometimes that investment won't immediately pay off. So can you handle spending $500 or $1,000 or $5,000, knowing the return might not come for months or even years? Okay. You're going to have to scale back on things. You might not be able to show up to every birthday party, every family gathering, every girl's trip, every guy's trip, every outing with your friends. You're going to have to say no to people that you care about so you can say yes to your business, say yes to your future, say yes to your destiny. And that's hard. Can you set those boundaries without guilt or resentment? Can you do it? Are you willing to lose those relationships? Because I'll be honest, I lost relationships during my journey just because I was not available. And you're going to have to create yourself an entire new identity, literally unlearning every single thing you were taught. When you go from W-2 employee to full-time entrepreneur, you're not just changing jobs, you're shifting your entire identity, your entire sense of self. You're recreating what you believe about money. Most W-2 employees are taught to save, be conservative, avoid risk, live within their means. Entrepreneurs, though, have to learn to invest, take calculated risks, spend money to make money, and think in terms of leverage and return of investment. That's a complete mental shift. You're recreating what you believe about business and success. You're no longer trading time for money. You're building systems. You're building leverage. You're thinking long term instead of paycheck to paycheck. You're recreating what you believe you deserve. A lot of people have a ceiling on how much they think they should make. I'm happy if I make $60K a year, or I just need to make 100,000. Going full time and building a business forces you to break through that ceiling and believe you're worthy of more and that you're capable of more. I am getting into this. You're going from someone who gets a guaranteed paycheck, literally every 2 weeks, to someone who has to get out and create their own income from scratch. You're going from someone who has a boss, who has a structure, who has coworkers, who has a a job description, who has SOPs and clear expectations, to someone who has to now create all of that for themselves and be their own boss. You're going from someone who's showing up and does what they're told to someone who has to figure it out on their own and make their own rules. That is a massive identity shift, y'all. And it requires you to become a different version of yourself. Things that used to hold you back, the fear of failure, the fear of judgment, limiting beliefs, insecurity, people pleasing, perfectionism, all of that, it can no longer hold you back anymore. You got to shed that old identity and step into a new one in order to make sure you are successful in this journey. And that process is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. It's messy. It's ugly. And it is painful at times. It hurts like heck. You're going to have moments where you don't recognize yourself no more, where you question if you're doing the right thing, where you feel an imposter, when you feel like you're an imposter, because all of that is part of the transformation. You have to be willing to become somebody else in order to get where you want to go next. So here's my position in all of this, because I can go long, right? I'm not pushing you to quit your job. I'm not out here just saying, just take the leap, burn the boats, figure it out. God's going to work it out, because that's what I did. And while it worked for me, yes, because I got instruction, it could have easily went the other way if I was not prepared. I could have failed. I could have gone broke. I could have had to go back to my W-2 with my tail in between my legs. No, I got blessed because I had the support, I had faith, and I also had determination and instruction to do what I did. But I don't want you to have to rely on that kind of luck. I want you to be prepared. So I'm teaching you how to decide. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm teaching you how to decide based on who you are. Because again, only you know that. So question, ask yourself, do I have structure in place? Ask yourself, do I have the systems? Do I have the financial cushion to weather the storms when things get tough? Do I have a reliable lead source that is already working for me? Do I have control over my time right now in this moment? Am I emotionally ready for inconsistent income, delayed gratification, and self-accountability? Do I have the self-trust to make tough decisions and stick with them? And also, have I even asked God for instruction and received that confirmation? Have I? If the answers to any of those questions is no, then you're not ready yet. And that's okay. That doesn't mean you're failing or falling behind. It just means you need to keep building the foundation. Save the money, build the lead sources, master the time management, work on your mindset and your emotional readiness. Pray about it. Go to God. Get clear. And when everything lines up spiritually, financially, emotionally, practically, you will know. You will have peace about it. You will have clarity. You will have confidence. And that's when you make the move. That's when you shift. Because going full time is not just the goal. Being prepared is the goal. All right, that's it for today. If this resonated with you, share it with another agent who's trying to figure out if they're ready to go full time. And if you're not already subscribed to my podcast, go ahead and hit that button so you don't miss the next episode. I'll talk to you guys next time. Before you go, remember this: you don't need to do everything. You just need to do the right things consistently. Thank you for spending time with me. If this episode spoke to you, share it, save it, and come back for the next one. I'm Althea Hurst, and you've been listening to Capture, Convert, Close.